So a very good evening, good morning to everyone. I, Dr. Poonam Joshi, welcome you all on another Saturday academic program of ACTRAC. So for today, our presenter is Mr. Arun Balaji. He is the chief of our speech and swallowing therapy department and in the Tata Mills Center, Mumbai. This topic of presentation is speech and swallowing rehabilitation in oral kids. So,
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me,
Hi.
Arun?
Yes, madam. You all hear me?
Yeah,
Uh,
we can. Please
yes.
go ahead with the presentation.
Yes. I thank you for this opportunity. Today, we will discuss about speech and swallowing rehabilitation in oral cancer. I'll be discussing about majorly how we are going to rehabilitate this patients by doing clinical evaluation and instrumental evaluation. As we all know, based on the Globocan data 2018, oral cancer is one incidence of head and neck cancer is very high in India. Among that, oral cancer tops number one, followed by laryngeal cancer and hypopharyngeal cancer. Moving on to the dysphagia in oral cancer. Dysphagia is one of the significant symptom as well as morbidity. The severity of the dysphagia depends on location, size, and the impact of the critical nerves and the structure that are involved. Dysphagia we can broadly classify into two types, that is surgical related dysphagia and dysphagia due to chemoradiation therapy. It can be acute dysphagia or long term dysphagia. So, what are all the impacts of the head and neck cancer? As we all know, the impacts of head and neck cancer is very high, majorly in terms of functional aspects, such as breathing issues, swallowing issues, speech impairments, cosmesis, hearing. These are very, very vital function for each and every human being. And what it impacts is entire quality of life for individuals. So moving on to the little bit about pathophysiology of swallowing, I will discuss about these swallowing based on video fluoroscopy. Okay, what we are going to understand in this population group is oral carcinoma. So majorly, the majority of our treatment of oral carcinoma followed by surgery, followed by adjuvant therapy. Okay, advanced tumor may require adjuvant radiation therapy or adjuvant chemoradiation therapy. So when we see about when we go on about dysphagia, dysphagia is not only penetration or aspiration. Okay, there are many things that we need to evaluate in this group of population. What we need to understand, what in terms of swallowing assessment, okay, there are a whole lot of components that we need to evaluate in this population, not only penetration or aspiration. We need to understand the pathophysiology of this penetration as well as aspiration. This we can, yes, this we can broadly classify into three types. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you,
Yes, yes.
Balaji. Please continue. Yeah.
This we can classify into three types. One is oral component, another is pharyngeal component, and esophageal component. We need to think about lip closure, tongue control, bolus preparation, bolus transport, residue in the oral cavity, and initiation of pharyngeal swallow. These are the oral component. And the next pharyngeal component is soft palate initiation, laryngeal elevation, anterior hyoid excursion, epiglottic movement, laryngeal vestibular closure, pharyngeal stripping wave, pharyngeal contraction, pharyngoesophageal segment opening, tongue-based retraction, pharyngeal residue, and then how the patient is able to clear in the esophageal phase. Many components are involved. All these are very, very essential in terms of compromising, in terms of consisting of swallowing function, evaluation, as well as intervention. So we need to evaluate these things. Okay, we know that patient is going to aspirate, patient is going to penetrate, but how are we going to intervene this population? Suppose when this anterior two-third of glossectomy, definitely they will have challenges in tongue control. They cannot hold the bolus, they cannot be able to prepare the bolus. Majorly these problems can occur. Okay, in terms of total glossectomy, entire pharyngeal component also will get affected. So it will be combination of oral impairment as well as pharyngeal impairment. So everything we need to take into consideration while rehabilitating this population. So moving on to small phases of swallowing recovery in oral cancer, Katrina Bleeth in 2014, she gave a very good classification how the functional recovery in this population can occur. This can be broadly classified into 4 types, such as initial acute phase, hospital discharge phase, adjuvant therapy phase, and final phase after completion of 3 months of surgery. These are the rough phases that is involved in this population. So swallowing evaluation and therapy is essential in every stages. Okay. The one more major thing that we have to take into consideration is pre-surgical clinical, at least clinical speech and swallowing evaluation is essential, but we are unable to do in every patients because of lack of human resources. But at least in total glossectomy, near total glossectomy, pre-surgical speech and swallowing evaluation and counseling is very essential in setting up the functional prognosis, and we have to give a realistic expectations for our patient group. So how are we going to do a swallowing evaluation? Swallowing evaluation can be done by using clinical evaluation. It is also called as bedside swallowing evaluation. It is very simple process. Okay, first we have to see the case history, evaluate the oral motor cavity, and in many places they are using water swallow test. Even in Tata Memorial Hospital, we use water swallow test. Depend upon the severity, you just see clinical notes. If it is advanced tumor, start with small amount of water, then gradually increase to 100 ml. See how the patient is performing, and see before swallowing, after swallowing, his voice. Is there any cough, throat clearing, change in voice after swallowing? And then we can identify whether he is a risk for aspiration or this patient require any kind of further swallowing evaluation. One of the major disadvantage in this clinical swallowing evaluation is we may suspect the patient may be a high risk for aspiration, but we cannot be able to identify the pathophysiology of swallowing dysfunction for this population. So after clinical swallowing evaluation, we have to judge how the patient performance, and then we have to proceed for any kind of instrumental swallowing evaluation, can majorly video fluoroscopic swallowing evaluation. So when are we going to proceed this swallowing evaluation after the acute surgery? 5 to 7 days, it's a good time. And we have to think about few things. Okay, whether 5 to 7 days may not be possible in every patient, such as advanced oral carcinoma. Okay, patient those who have underwent neoadjuvant chemotherapy. Okay, for them healing may require longer duration. Okay, that is one reason. The next thing is wound healing also we have to consider, and advanced tumors such as mid-segmental mandibulectomy with free fibular reconstruction and near total glossectomy or total glossectomy, they may require little longer duration for this evaluation. But intermediate tumor and early tumor resection, definitely 5 to 7 days good option, and we can start doing the clinical swallowing evaluation. Prior to that, very good oral hygiene is very essential. Okay, it can be like regular Hexarin mouthwash, and we have to encourage the patient to do the brushing each and every day. So this gentleman, it is a carcinoma of gingivo-buccal complex. He underwent segmental mandibulectomy with pectoralis major myocutaneous flap. Look at this patient. What is the swallowing impairment? Labial seal. No, this patient cannot able to have do not have any kind of a very good labial seal. So what are we expecting? Definitely bolus leakage can happen, okay, through this labial seal. So he has to use some kind of postural technique, okay, and whether this can be corrected by swallowing rehabilitation, this is little challenging to correct by only with swallowing rehabilitation. Even though this patient is doing well, Okay, if you think doing well, he cannot able to take all the food consistencies because he underwent segmental mandibulectomy, chewing is getting affected, okay, and labial seal is impaired. Okay, the only thing correcting the labial seal is surgery. Okay, we have to think about sending plastic and reconstructive surgery for correcting labial seal. Otherwise this patient is good, and his performance status scale for head and neck cancer diet is 50, so he can able to take soft food consistency, but he cannot able to take harder consistencies such as peanuts will be very difficult for him. Otherwise this gentleman is doing very well. So what is the bottom line? Evaluate the swallowing at the early stage, then continue your swallowing evaluation and therapy after acute surgery, during radiation therapy, and after radiation therapy. When we have to go little slowly, see this gentleman, carcinoma of buccal mucosa, underwent segmental mandibulectomy with pectoralis major myocutaneous flap. Look at this. Look at this region. Okay, there is no any gap. Okay, in this scenario, definitely we can proceed for swallowing evaluation. Okay, after acute surgery, maybe like 10 days. Yes. Okay, before that, make sure the patient is having adequate healing. Even if it is a very small wound gap, or any like flap detachment happens, it is very very difficult to correct it after that. So make sure very good healing, then start swallowing evaluation, or you can start sips of water. Gradually you have to start, okay, in such patients. Okay, and especially post neoadjuvant chemo radiation, because we know that healing is going to take little longer duration than naive surgical patient. Then once there is no any kind of difficulty in no any flap detachment or anything, then gradually increase and follow up the patient during radiation therapy, and after radiation therapy, then definitely we can take the decision for removal of feeding tube. The gentleman, even after radiation therapy, see this picture below, he is doing well. There is no any flap detachment. Okay, this gentleman, Carson of lower alveolus, underwent mid one-third mandibulectomy with free fibula osteocutaneous flap. This rehabilitating this patient, it takes a little longer duration, because after this advanced surgery, majority of our patients will have NG tube as well as tracheostomy tube. So we have to think about removal of both the tubes, but it takes little time. First, make sure that the patient can able to take small quantity of liquids safely. Okay, and then see the airway, initiate the corking trial, then decannulate the tracheostomy tube. Suppose if the patient is having difficulty in breathing, we can do a simple flexible endoscopy and see the larynx and see the airway, and we can decide the decannulation, whether if it is possible or not. Okay, then follow these patients during radiation therapy and after radiation therapy. Teach them swallowing exercises. Okay, during radiation therapy, we know that patient is going to have significant difficulties due to acute toxicities, mucositis, burning sensation, fibrosis. Make sure that patient takes even small sips of water. Okay, then gradually build up. Once a patient is able to take adequately, then we can remove the feeding tube. Moving on to the swallowing rehabilitation in tongue cancer. Tongue cancer, we can see a different types of tongue cancer. It can be a primary closure to total glossectomy, and total glossectomy with laryngectomy, but that is not happening very much. So we can restrict our discussion with total laryngectomy. So primary closure, then anterior two-third glossectomy, hemiglossectomy, near total glossectomy. The rehabilitation is varies for each and every patient, and as we know, Anterior tongue is very essential for speech production, and posterior tongue is helps in swallowing function than speech function. So this gentleman, he had a carcinoma of tongue, okay, anterior small tongue. He underwent wide excision with radial forearm free flap. For small lesion, we can start this patient after good healing, 5 to 7 days. Start small amount of water, then evaluate after 2 to 3 days and see how the patient is performing swallowing. Then give the 100 ml of water and see how the patient is able to swallow. Okay, palpate his larynx, how the laryngeal movement happening during swallowing. Based on that, we can take a decision for removal of feeding tube. Only issue in this patient is he has little difficulty in speech because of the anterior involvement. So another one patient, this different types of different angle of glossectomy. This gentleman is doing well. He underwent radial forearm free flap with wide excision. His swallowing function is absolutely fine. What is lacking? What is challenging in clinical swallowing evaluation? In advanced tumor, okay, we may miss the silent aspiration. We always think, okay, patient will cough after swallowing, okay, if the patient is having swallowing difficulty, but that is not always true. Okay, the incidence of silent aspiration in head and neck cancer varies from 9% to 18.5% at the time of diagnosis, and it can go up to 60% after any kind of a specific treatment. And many of our patients, as I said, they have a tracheostomy. How are we going to do swallowing evaluation in this type of population? Okay, as I said, how are we going to detect silent aspiration? So here, like as I said earlier, you can do water swallow test. Okay, along with the water swallow test, you can add blue food dye or green food dye. Okay, then ask the patient to swallow. Okay, if you have the suctioning facility, after 10 minutes of swallowing, you can suction and see is there any kind of a colored secretion is coming or not. If not, see whether something is coming out from his tracheostomy tube. This is one of the simple technique, okay, that will tell us the patient has aspiration silently when the patient is having tracheostomy tube. This is also a useful tool for our evaluation. But clinical evaluation and modified blue dye test will be enough for our swallowing evaluation? No. Always clinical swallowing evaluation will not be enough for the rehabilitation. Why? Because we cannot able to understand the pathophysiology, and we cannot able to understand why the patient is having aspiration. Okay, two things we have to keep in mind. One is safety aspect, another is that is penetration aspiration. The another thing is efficiency. In literatures have said that patients with head and neck cancer have a lot of efficiency issues as well, such as residue in the oral cavity, residue in the pharyngeal region. What happens if the patient is having poor efficiency? Even though his swallowing safety is good, if the patient is having poor efficiency, they may not able to take adequate quantity. They cannot able to fulfill the nutritional needs by orally. Okay, so these things we have to take into consideration in rehabilitating this population. So here I would like to show you one normal video fluoroscopy. Okay, so this gentleman, this is a normal patient. Okay, we are giving thick liquid, and see, look at this. This is the tongue, this is the tongue, and see how the movement of the tongue happens. And then see the larynx, how the movement of larynx is happening. And look at this, the epiglottis also. I will play this video 2 times. See epiglottis movement, see tongue base retraction, see laryngeal elevation. This is a normal video fluoroscopy. Again, I will play it. Patient can able to hold the bolus very well, and then he can able to propellate posteriorly. Say this is the complete laryngeal elevation with very good laryngeal vestibular closure. See how epiglottis coming into the normal position. So this is the normal swallowing function, okay, for a patient. We will see the next one. So this patient, he had a carcinoma of a tongue, underwent hemiglossectomy with radial forearm free flap. Okay. This is after 4 weeks of radiation therapy. So we have to remember the normal video fluoroscopy, and now he is drinking 20 ml of thick barium, thin barium. And here, what is the problem here? I'll play this one again. Bolus hold. The patient cannot able to hold the bolus. Okay, it is escaping posteriorly. Okay. See here, it is small amount of penetration is happening. So there is an impairment in laryngeal elevation, mild impairment, and see the residue in the vallicula. But still, it is not a very poor function after 4 weeks of radiation therapy with hemiglossectomy, the radial forearm free flap, and the radiation is what he has received is intensity modulated radiation therapy. So why this is essential? Look at this feeding tube. The patient is having feeding tube. When we did the video fluoroscopy, after this procedure, by 2 weeks, we could able to successfully remove the feeding tube. The patient could able to swallow well. Okay, thin liquid, thick liquid. Okay, that consistency he could able to swallow well. So video fluoroscopy is very, very essential in rehabilitating oral carcinoma patients. And sometimes in tongue carcinomas, we have to use certain postural management, such as head tilting, like almost 45-degree, to aid the bolus transfer. So this gentleman, carcinoma of tongue, underwent near total glossectomy. This is 2 weeks after surgery. See again here, he don't have any kind of aspiration also, but there is a residue. Okay, residue indicates the patient is having little reduction in swallowing efficiency. Tongue base retraction is reduced, but this is the right time to increase oral quantity. Okay, and see the next video. He's taking 30 ml thin barium. The patient is very good. There is no any aspiration, but only thing, there is a residue, okay, in the vallicula as well as in the oral cavity region. This is indicates that these patients are having impairment in swallowing efficiency. And what we did after this, okay, we told the patient to have the Ryle's tube. Okay, we did not remove the Ryle's tube. The patient was following up regularly with speech and swallowing therapy during radiation therapy. After 4 weeks of radiation therapy, we removed the feeding tube. The patient, even now also, he is doing very well. So next, this gentleman, carcinoma of tongue, underwent total glossectomy with pectoralis major myocutaneous flap. Look at this video fluoroscopy. He is using head back posture. Completely, he cannot able to hold the bolus. There is a little bit penetration is there. Otherwise, he could be able to swallow almost everything. Look at this 50 ml. Very good. The pharyngoesophageal segment opening also good. The patient was having very good breath holding. Okay, there is just a little bit of a penetration. After this procedure, we removed the feeding tube, and then after a week, we removed the tracheostomy tube as well. We performed flexible laryngoscopy to see the airway, and then we decannulated the tracheostomy. Then this patient, recurrent oral carcinoma. See, so here we are doing, we have a endoscopic image. Okay, see, it is the post radiation changes. Okay, we can see the epiglottis. Look at this patient struggling to swallow. There is a lot of residue in the piriform sinus, and it is going to the laryngeal vestibule, but still the patient able hold it very well. Okay, and expel it with good cough. Just a penetration, no any aspiration. Okay. And see the same patient, we did video fluoroscopy after 2 days of FEES procedure. Look at this. See exactly what we are seeing, this residue in the FEES procedure. This holding up takes time to go inside. And see how the patient's clearing it out. She has a good cough. She could able to clear it out well. Okay. So these procedures are very, very essential in evaluating these patients properly and in guide in treatment intervention for these patients. We cannot able to rehabilitate in many patients. Okay, in some patients like heart palate with a large resection, okay, majorly obturate patients, we think that with obturator the patient will be able to swallow, but we have seen failures also in swallowing rehabilitation. This one paper has published in 2019. What is the message of this paper is, they have done those who have done swallowing exercises, okay, their function improved very well, okay, over the period of time than those who have not done the swallowing exercises. Okay. What are the factors associated for poor quality of life in oral cancer? There are few things that we have to take into consideration. Advanced stage T3, T4 tumors, bilateral neck dissection, resection of unilateral or bilateral suprahyoid muscles using conventional radiation therapy in adjuvant settings. These are one of the major factors, okay, which are associated for poor quality of life in oral cancer. How to overcome this? One major how to overcome this. One is pre-surgical speech and swallowing evaluation and counseling in advanced stage oral cancer is essential. What is challenging in this is we need to have speech therapy human resource. The next thing is intensive speech and swallowing rehabilitation after acute surgery, during adjuvant chemoradiation therapy, post-radiation, surveillance for any kind of a late dysphagia, long-term functional follow-up is very, very essential. Oral hygiene and swallowing exercises essential. Using video fluoroscopy and FEES whenever needed to rehabilitate these populations. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please ask me. Now it is open for discussion.
Arun Balaji, thank you so much. It was actually a very detailed and comprehensive presentation. I'm very sure all of our attendees, they learned a lot, including me. So, any questions? So, if there are no questions, I would like to ask a few things, Balaji.
Yes, madam.
One is, how does this pre-operative evaluation, like we discussed, helps in the post-operative rehabilitation?
Madam, pre-operative, actually it is swallowing evaluation and counseling, because we know that patient, for example, we will take it hemiglossectomy. We know that patient hemiglossectomy, if you think about functional oral text scale, for example, FOAS scale, we do not know the baseline swallowing function. Means before surgery, we don't know any baseline swallowing function. Okay, we cannot guarantee that even baseline also a patient is able to take all the food consistencies. For example, patient is having normal food. Okay, before surgery also, the patient may be having liquid consistency or soft food consistency. Okay, so the functional oral text scale or performance status scale for diet section is not 100 for all our oral cancer. So baseline is essential to establish what is the outcome after surgery. So that gives a very good idea. Okay, what is the baseline function, and then after 1 year whether it has improved or we are able to reach baseline, or we cannot able to reach the baseline. That is one of the major thing. If you take many studies, there is no any baseline evaluation itself, majorly in oral carcinoma.
Right. So
It helps us to counsel the patient properly, as well as we can give a realistic expectations for the patient as well as patient family members.
So we have to give them the realistic expectation and
Yes,
the proper
definitely.
counseling. Definitely.
Yes.
So I think, Arun, there are a few questions in the chat box.
Yes.
So can you go one by one? How to assess if dedicated speech and swallow services are not available? Please summarize.
Yes, I do understand the challenges because speech language services not available in every cancer hospital. As I said, there are two things: speech and swallowing evaluation. Okay, you can use a simple scale called as functional oral text scale. That is a clinician rated scale. You can use even before surgery or after 3 weeks or 4 weeks of surgery. That gives outcome measurement. Okay, small outcome measurement. Okay, and then look at the oral motor examination. Okay, then start with small amount of water, as I said, modified water solar test or 100 ml water solar test. That these tests are very useful clinical test. Okay, we can use in this population even if you do not have any kind of expertise in your centers. And then the major failure is happening is adjuvant radiation therapy, where if we do not have any kind of expertise to look after these patients during adjuvant chemoradiation, there we are going to fail to rehabilitate in this population. Okay, so that is where majority of failure will happen. Patient will go take treatment some other centers. When they come back here, okay, that times what happens, acute toxicities will happen and patient will not be able to swallow even small sips of water also, and fibrosis sets in. Then it will be very difficult to rehabilitate in these populations. Okay, I understand the challenges will be little difficult without expertise. How to decide for fees assess video fluoroscopy? Do not worry about anything. Fees majorly for laryngeal cancer and hypopharyngeal carcinoma. Oral cancer, oropharynx, video fluoroscopy is the best tool. Patient of partial gastrectomy, posterior secondary. So we have to think a patient of a partial glossectomy, okay, partial glossectomy, we have to think about what type of reconstruction the patient has undergone or not. Okay, that is one thing. Develop loss of voice and nasal regurgitation. Loss of voice maybe can be acute toxicities due to radiation therapy. Also, there can be edema or mucositis in the laryngeal region. Can temporarily cause varying degree of dysphonia. Nasal regurgitation, we can suspect if the patient is having narrowing of pharyngoesophageal segment. Okay, then we can expect this kind of a nasal regurgitation. So in this, first of all, we have to do video fluoroscopy in this patient. We have to see, we have to evaluate properly. Okay, and then we have to identify what is the problem. Okay, why the patient is having a nasal regurgitation. So video fluoroscopy would be the best plan for this patient.
So Arun,
Yes,
one more question. So what in your experience, do you see any difference in speech and swallowing outcomes between fibula reconstruction, like you showed us one case in your presentation,
Yes,
and
madam.
like PMMC, especially for localized regions. For middle third or crossing midline, we know that PMMC is not the appropriate choice. I'm asking for localized regions where often we do the PMMC, and in our institute, fibula is not mostly available. But in ideal situation, that should be reconstructed with fibula. So, what is your experience about that?
Madam, actually, I got your point. For lateralized defect, okay, the surgeons may do pectoralis pedicle flap as well as even bone reconstruction. But if you see the outcome is not very very different. Okay, in this in these both groups. Okay, but provided if the patient like pectoralis major pedicle the flap covering very well, that we have to take into consideration. There is no any flap detachment after surgery. Okay, the major thing what we are challenges post radiation therapy. What kind of a radiation therapy the patient is also having, that is also one of the factor for outcome for these patients. Okay, if many of them go for conventional radiation therapy, then it will be very difficult. Their outcome is going to be poor even if you put free fibula as well. So multiple factors are involved. Even radiation also very essential in optimizing functional outcome in oral cancer.
Correct. So what I understand is that other than the kind of reconstruction, the
Yes.
type of defect, the type of cosmetic units we have, the type of subsites we have removed in that particular case, and the post-operative management like adjuvant, chemo,
Yes. Yes,
that
ma'am.
makes all that they also need to.
Yes.
One last question from my side, Balaji. Actually,
Yes.
it's a very great presentation. That's why I'm asking. So, what is the risk of silent aspiration in after surgery, mainly for early oral cavity cancers? So, advanced we know. Arun. So, do you think there is risk of aspiration in early oral cancers also?
No, madam. Early oral cancer, they do not have a much risk on silent aspiration. So no need to worry.
Much aspiration.
Yeah. No need to.
Great. So, any other questions from the audience? Anyone? So I think with this we conclude today's session, Arun.
Okay, ma'am.
We are
Thank you so
thankful
much.
to you. It was a great session and great presentation. We saw excellent those fluoroscopic, this video fluoroscopic photographs, which really explained to all of us that how is the process of swallowing done in a particular patient and post radical resections. So thank you so much, and I look forward to have you more in our Saturday academic classes.
Sure, madam. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, madam.